My name is Beggles and I'm a bit of a roguelike fan, whether it be deck building, action platforming, or just those weird and wacky other ones. So I'm on a mission to find the best upcoming roguelike games that you can find on Steam in the month of March. If that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe to the channel and I'd appreciate if you answer the question in the comments. I'm going to start off this video with the very impressive looking Breachway, a sci-fi spaceship deck building roguelike that has some intense looking turn-based battles and a game that just looks smooth to me. You play as a captain and your job is to plot your course, upgrading your crew and also your ship as you interact with the many different factions of the Breachway. This looks to me to be one of the more tactical roguelike games that you might find in this video, and perhaps is the most anticipated game on this list. Perhaps the hardest game for me to explain its backpack battles, a PvP inventory management game that is also an auto battler. Upon hearing that, you might think that this game is going to be absolute trash, but when you see it playing out, it looks really fun. There is a lot of strategy here, the ability to buy different items, even merge your items together and pick classes that will play different. There's a ranked mode, it's PvP. It looks to me to be one of those roguelikes that seems simple, but actually is a bit more tactical than you thought. I wouldn't be surprised if Backpack Battles ends up one of the more popular games in this video. Since we're on the topic of auto battlers, let's have a look at Corrupted Dawn of Havoc. This game is definitely a little bit more hard hitting and it describes itself as a hard game. Corrupted involves building your own deck and then using some placement strategies by putting your units onto the auto battling field. That definitely looks a little bit like TFT or auto chess. Even though this is an auto battling game, there is the ability to intervene by using some of your cards real time or even blocking some of the damages through different combinations. I'll be curious about the depth of the game in terms of storyline, but definitely what you can see in the trailer looks action-packed. How do you put words to Maniac, an action roguelike crime game that seems to be a throwback to the old GTA games of the past, only this time you can play as Santa and some hot dog guy as you hijack, shoot, and create carnage across this city. With 6 different psychopaths to unlock, the developers have mentioned this game being GTA meets Vampire Survivors, and if it plays well and is fun enough, it could be a bit of a cult classic from this list. Definitely not a game that I'm going to take too seriously, but might be a good one for passing some time and having some giggles. I've got to be honest, first-person shooter roguelike games have not been my favourite in the past, but I'm starting to come around to them. It might be that spending a bit of time with RoboQuest has won me over. Nonetheless, Sentry is an action defense style first-person shooter game that looks pretty slick with arcade graphics and fast-paced action. This game has that classic storyline of Earth needing to send the precious last human cargo away as the planet is pretty much screwed, and your job is to defend against the enemies that are trying to kill them. It's an alien foe, they look big, they look scary, but luckily there are lots of different guns for you to use, and another game that's going to allow co-op through an online method. I think this one actually looks quite impressive. Necrosmith 2 is one of those games that I mentioned in the intro that falls into that weird and wacky category. You play on a procedurally generated maps in this tower defense style roguelike game in which you use the dead body parts of enemies that you've slain to create the monsters that you're going to use to try and explore and overcome the world around you. I'm sure you're going to be spending your time in this game making weird and wacky creatures as you try and attack these gigantic sized titans and defend against massive hordes that'll be coming your way. Definitely on the quirky and fun side. Vellum is an action roguelike game that you can play with a few friends. It's a game that seems to have tried to set out to prove the point that you don't need running animations in 3D games. This game has fast, action-packed battles, and there is a lot going on the screen. There is a lot in the video that looks kind of generic in terms of the way the world's set out. However, with over 300 spells to play, and some enemies that look kind of fun, this might be one of those games that plays really well. Not sure if I'd play it alone though. The last game on our list, and definitely the game that wins the award for the most amount of enemies on the screen at the same time, is Artifact Seeker. Artifact Seeker is another survivor game that allows you to exchange gold that you get from slaying enemies and then purchase artifacts from mysterious merchants. This looks to be another one of those survivor games that has an insane amount of upgrades that you can either use or find or purchase, with weapons, abilities, and other things to unlock. Text-based events will meet you along the way, and a bunch of new characters that you can unlock as well. If you like survival-based games, this might be one to have a quick look at. Thanks for watching to the end of the video, and remember to answer the question in the comments.